everyone, and welcome to another edition of the South Florida Gospel News. Sorry, y'all, I did not mean to blast you out like that. Please forgive me. Please adjust your volume accordingly. I am Deborah Hall McCullen, and we are the South Florida Gospel News radio show. So please make sure you follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Join the South Florida Gospel News group page. You can look for me on YouTube and look for Deborah Hall at Deborah Hall 4816. And as I said, we are the award winning South Florida Gospel News. Let me just go ahead and go through these accolades. And we are also nominated for a South Florida, I'm sorry, a Tampa Bay Gospel Award. Lord, let me get my brain together here this morning. It's early, but I'm up and I am recording. Go to tampabaygospelawards.com and make sure you scroll down, find the tab where you can vote. We are nominated for Media of the Year, Media Publication of the Year. And then make sure you cast your vote for the award winning South Florida Gospel News. All right. So today, also when connecting me on Facebook, follow me on Facebook, please. You'll find me at Deborah S. Hall on Facebook. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get started because this video is about Monique Netflix special. I had the opportunity to watch it on Thursday. And we're going to talk about that. All right. So Miss Monique has a Netflix special out. So about 5 years ago, she sued Netflix. Netflix first initially gave her an offer to do a comedy special on Netflix. So the money they offered her was not what she thinks she deserved, right? Because, back then, this is at me back then, like it was so long ago. 5 years ago, Dave Chappelle had a comedy show, Chris Rock had one, Amy Schumer had one. They were paid millions and millions and millions of dollars to do a Netflix special. So Netflix came and offered Monique a special. Monique didn't think it was enough money. And so she accused them of being racist against Black women and discriminating against her because she had won an Oscar or Critics' Choice Award and all of these others awards in 2009 for her role in the movie Precious, right? So after the movie Precious, after she had gotten her Oscar, right? Monique was on fire. She was hot. Everybody wanted her to host their program or to appear somewhere. She did all kinds of interviews, right? And so Lee Daniels, who directed Precious, said, "Hey, Monique, I need you to do some more press because our movie just won an Oscar and we need you to go overseas and promote this movie." So Monique said no. She had already done the promotions that she had been paid for. And she was saying they pretty much wanted her to do the promotion for Precious for free. They would cover her plane tickets and all of that. But they wanted her to do interviews overseas like London and all these other places to promote the now Academy Award winning movie Precious. Monique said, "Where is my money?" So Lee Daniels, Oprah Winfrey and Tyler Perry, they all pretty much was like, we invested in this movie. We need you, since you are an Academy Award winner now, we need you to further promote this movie so we can make some more money. Monique said, where is my money? Where's my money that you're going to pay me to go promote this movie further? I fulfilled my contract obligations. Y'all already halfway paid me for my role in the movie. I want an Oscar. Where is my money? So anyway, the historic video where Monique was on stage telling Tyler Perry, Oprah, and Lee Daniels to suck her non-existent blank because she feels like they blackballed her because after the Precious movie, of course, Tyler Perry took off with making multiple movies and he was no longer really doing the plays. He was into the movie making business. And then Oprah Winfrey went on and launched her own network. And Lee Daniels continued to produce direct films and movies. He did a lot with television also. He has shows on the Fox network. And Monique couldn't get no work. So she was in her feelings. And she was angry with everybody. So anyway, Monique sued Netflix, and last year she won. So Netflix was like, "Okay, we're gonna fulfill our obligation, and we're gonna settle this case. We're gonna go ahead and pay you, and let you come on and do this Netflix show." So I watched it, and then I was really disappointed because I expected more. I never really been a really big fan of her comedy, but I really expected more from her in her comedy show. And now that I've had an opportunity to take a look at it, I'm gonna give my opinion. So here's what I wrote on Facebook. I said all the drama, complaining, and boycotting against Netflix talked about Tyler Perry, Oprah, Lee Daniels, and DL Hughley like dogs, and she finally got a Netflix comedy special. I said, "Wake me up when it's funny." I didn't find any of it funny. And then she used the N word so much throughout her comedy set. It was so vulgar with her language. I was like, I struggled to get through it. And I said it was an hour of my life that I will never get back because the show is exactly 1 hour. And then the shocking moment to me was when she said she was raised on N word Boulevard. She came from an N word family. And then she said, "I'm a gorilla." And then she balled up her shoulders and her fists and bulged her eyes out and made a face. I couldn't believe it. I said, "Lord help her." So now let's do a little bit of backtracking about Monique. And Netflix, I already knew Monique wasn't that funny as a comedian. And her audience wasn't that big, and she was comparing herself to Dave Chappelle, Chris Rock, Amy Schumer. And the difference between Monique and them is that they have a much larger audience than Monique. Okay, Monique, you won an Oscar and all of that, and you've done some other movies and whatnot, and you were so angry with everyone and talking about people so bad and their family members and everything and calling people N word, every other word, but you're supposed to be so pro black, but everybody's N word out of your mouth. Everybody is an N word. And although Dave Chappelle said, "Hey, as a comic and you're on stage, that's a form of artistic expression." But give me a break, okay? With that, you so black love and protect the black family and uplift black women, but you're calling everybody N word. And then what you did to DL Hughley on stage, which I now believe Corey Holcomb. Corey Holcomb has a YouTube channel called and a show called 5150. Check that out sometimes. And he gave some commentary on Monique after she slam blasted D.L. Hughley, which people initially thought that she went off on D.L. Hughley because of something that he did to her, which turned out to be a lie. She finally said her and her husband planned that. She said, "Daddy, I'm going to go out here and talk about D.L. Hughley." So Corey Holcomb, who's also a comedian with the show 5150, said Monique didn't have any jokes. Where's the jokes? And said that she did that to D.L. Hughley because she didn't have any jokes. They made that up, her and her husband in the back, and she came out there talking about that man's wife and daughter and all kind of stuff that turned out to not be true. And so Corey Holcomb said, "Monique, it's only so many fat jokes you can do. After the fat jokes, where is your material? What do you have?" And I believe that after watching her Netflix special on Thursday, because I was like, "Well, where are the jokes?" You know what she shoulda did with this Netflix, special? She shoulda made it into a documentary. If she had came out with a documentary about her life, with her struggles and how she was raised with the pimps and the gamblers and the prostitutes and the drug addicts, and, she had said, "Hey, I was in the special class growing up." I didn't find any of that funny, and, how she had what she would not say, but I will say, and I'll put allegedly, uh, how she had lesbian tendencies growing up. And so I think that her Netflix special should have been a documentary about her life instead of a comedy show because it was just not good. And like I said, Netflix I already knew. So they said, okay, we're gonna let the people find out what we already know. This lady does not have the funny material. And you can even see on the audience members' faces, they were straining to laugh. And he was like, "It's it's not that funny." It just really wasn't, not to me. And then I think that as accomplished as Monique is, and they were using the I would say excuse for her wanting to get as much money as Dave Chappelle and Amy Schumer and Chris Rock is the fact that she had won an Oscar and she won the Critics' Choice Award for the Golden Globe and a couple of other awards. But your audience is not as big as Dave Chappelle, especially Amy Schumer and Chris Rock. And so, um, remember she had that show on BET. You remember that show when she was always crying and hugging people like, that might be her last time hugging them. And some more said to her one time, please knock it off with all of that. It's supposed to be a comedy show. You have a late night show on BET, and that was in her prime. The Parkers was the number one show on BET. She had that BET late night show, and then she won an Oscar. So she was in her prime then. And people found it also, and this is me being in entertainment industry and my circle of publicist friends, and this is not alleged. This is what they told me, that she was difficult to work with. Her attitude and cussing people out and the rudeness. I guess that comes with the territory after you win an Oscar. I don't know. Now y'all heard some crashing and banging. That's oh Lord. I forgot to tell Chris I was recording, but anyway, I'm in my home studio. So anyway, where was I? Oh, the difficulty of working with her, and then especially after she felt like she was blackballed. And I think there may be, and I'm gonna say alleged here because I don't know, I'm not a doctor, a case of mental illness. If you look at that Netflix special, and I'm not telling people to not watch it, maybe watch it to learn a little bit more about her. And I will say, although it wasn't that funny to me, it helped me understand some of her anger and outbursts and of her being a narcissist. And I say alleged again because I don't know. I'm not a doctor. But with people like that, the ones who are laughing one minute, next minute they're crying, and then when they're angry, they start smiling while they're talking about they're angry. And I use a perfect example. If you watch YouTube or TikTok or anything, look at Jaguar Wright's behavior. Look at her behavior and how she treats people. And she's mentally ill. That's something that she said. There's no alleged about that. But if you see some of her videos where she's saying all of this stuff, like she's the know all, be all, end all, and she has all the knowledge and feels sorry for other people who don't think like she thinks, angry, crying, cussing people out for sure. I saw some of that same behavior when I was watching this Netflix special. Now, moving right along. Go to Netflix. I think when I watched Thursday, it was like number 5 on the top 10 list. I will say in comparison to Samora's comedy special on Netflix, I enjoy hers much better because I actually laughed. And she said a lot of things I can relate to that's actually funny. But if you go into this Netflix special with Monique, think of it as a documentary and you'll be less disappointed. Now, I will say one thing that I do like about Monique, especially, before she won the Oscar, I had the opportunity to meet her. That's me and her. That was back in 2009, right? We were at a house party for a celebrity attorney, where the attorney is a celebrity that also represents celebrities. Okay. So we were at his house. Was it Christmas time or anyway, it was a special event. I don't remember what it was. But Monique was there with her little off the shoulder pink leather mini dress, and she had on some pink boots that matched, some pink high heel boots. So Monique, she's not really all that tall because I'm standing next to her and I didn't have heels on, and we're about the same height, right? And so when we saw each other, it was like, oh my God, you're so pretty. You're so pretty. And I told her, I said, "I'm trying to be just like you and get me some money with it." And she just fell out laughing. So we exchanged information. Well, I gave her my information. I got her information, and she gave my information to her publicist, which was a gentleman, an older gentleman at the time. Very nice guy. So we kept in touch. Now, one of the things that I do like about Monique is she gives a person who's out here windmilling in these streets trying to make it an opportunity using her platform. She's helped a lot of comedians, come on stage before she goes on stage for her comedy sets. And she does interviews with people who are not top tier media. And back then, I was doing South Florida Gospel News. Let me show y'all an example of what I was doing. Show you one of my media badges. This one is for the International Gospel Industry Retreat with Bobby Jones. That's for 2006 and 2007. But anyway, I wasn't at this party as media. I was at this party because I was invited because they knew me as media and asked me to come. And I was so privileged to be able to go and meet Monique. But anyway, we exchanged information and I had set up an interview with her publicist during that time. And the interview was supposed to take place on a Monday, the day after the Oscars. And I kept asking her publicist, "Are you sure?" He was like, "Oh yeah, she'll be available, We'll be in California. But if you could let us interview maybe like 2 o'clock." And I think it would be like 11 o'clock over there. He said he knew she would be up and moving around. She was gonna do a telephone interview with me that would be recorded and then played back on the local radio station here, and then also put in my South Florida Gospel News, what was then a newsletter back then. So yeah, we had kept in touch, and then she just happened to win an Oscar the day before my interview. And I was like, ooh, ooh, I know I'm gonna get an interview now. This is gonna really make me stand out if I get an interview with an Oscar winner. Well, all of those top tier people who had ignored her pretty much all that time. Now I wanted to interview her, the Today Show, Good Morning America, CNN, yeah, MSNBC, all of those top tier stations, Fox, all of them had scheduled interviews with her. So, you have to strike the iron while it's hot. She was striking. And so I talked to her publicist, I called like I was supposed to at 2 o'clock. He was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." He said, "Since you won last night, we've just been on jet fuel, going from here to there, doing interviews and talking and radio and this and that, blah, blah, blah." I was like, "Hey, I completely understand." So he told me to wait a couple of weeks to see if we could get together and let her come on and talk. But, we lost touch because she was so busy. And then after that, the fallout happened between her, Tyler Perry, Oprah, and Lee Daniels. And I pretty much left it alone like that. And then, I didn't really like her saying those things about them in public like that. And I was like, if they're blackballing you now, how does that help your case? But since then, she and Lee Daniels have made up, and that came through Miss T.S. Madison. And like I said, Monique always provides opportunity for, small media who's out here trying to do something. And so T.S. Madison and Kaya had a YouTube show called The Queen's Court, and Monique had agreed to do an interview. Well, the first interview that they scheduled with her, T.S. Madison and Kaya had a on-air falling out. Well, Kaya fell out with T.S. Madison, and anyway, later on, Monique came back when T.S. Madison came back as the Queen Supreme Court. So Monique came onto that show and did her interview, and after that, T.S. Madison is good friends with Lee Daniels, and she was able to bring Lee Daniels and Monique together. They kissed, made up, and hugged it out, and now Monique is making I think it's a Netflix movie now, and then also she's on another show, and both of them happen to be directed by who else? Lee Daniels. So to wrap this up, no, the Netflix show was not funny to me, but now given her talking about her background, her upbringing, I do think again that it should have been more. It should have been a documentary instead of a comedy special. And at the end of the show, she says, "Hey, my name is not Dave Chappelle." I'm just paraphrasing here. You have to watch it to see exactly what she says. My name is not Dave Chappelle. I'm not even sure. My name is not Chris Rock. My name is Monique. And that was her mic drop. So basically, during her Netflix special, she's saying, "This is who I am. My name is Monique. You can't compare me to anyone else." And I agree with that. So Monique, let's come on back with another comedy special or something else where we leave out the drama, the things that you saw, or just make a documentary. I think that it will do better if you just make your documentary life and everything that you went through. I think it will be a good book. Um and come on back and do a comedy show with some comedy without all that N word, MF. That's another thing that I don't have a problem with people using profanity, but that was just overboard and ridiculous. Everything MF, everything N word. Now that N word, I really hate that word. And I really have a problem with her being so pro black and help the black family. And then when she does these interviews sometime with people, it's my brother, my sister, my brother. But you on stage calling people the N word. I know it's your artistic expression and everything, but it doesn't make sense to me. All right, that's my spiel on Monique's Netflix special. Watch it if you want to. If you're not a fan of hers, you'll become less of a fan if you watch it. Probably, it's not all that funny. It just talks so much about her life, and the thing about the special needs. I didn't find that funny at all. I'm just waiting for somebody to come out and say something because she did use that R word that we are not supposed to be calling special needs kids anyway, but she used the word in reference to herself, that retarded word. I just say it like that. Uh, anyway, like I said, Lord help her. And I'll probably never get another interview with her. I don't know. Especially after this, but I'm not dragging her. I'm just saying it wasn't. I expected more comedy. I expected to be, this was her moment to come back and say, "Hey, I deserve a Netflix special because I'm funny, doggone it. I make people laugh. I have a humongous audience." And this was her moment to come and say, "This is why they should have gave me a Netflix special in the first place." And I didn't see that. But anyway, like I said, go to Netflix if you have it, borrow somebody well, you can't do that no more. Don't borrow nobody password. But, check it out. And, until then, I'll talk to y'all later. Please like and share this video and tell a friend. I'll talk with y'all later. Okay, bye.